Good evening and welcome to California Today. I'm Daniel Hall. Let's take a look at today's stories. San Jose is the first city in California to require booster shots for certain indoor events. San Francisco also updated requirements for mega events in the city. Tesla and its CEO Elon Musk are criticizing California's new solar plan proposal. Tesla says the plan will create the highest solar fees within the country. State leaders announced on Wednesday what a newly created office would entail. It's part of the California blueprint the governor proposed on Monday. NTD's Eileen Ng brings us more.
In a virtual briefing, state leaders discussed how the new Office of Community Partnerships and Strategic Communications would manage public education and community engagement efforts and provide support for community-based organizations.
The proposed office is a clear signifier of the administration's recognition and respect for its communities by formalizing the unique critical role that community-based organizations play in advancing the state's goals in reaching out and building trust with California's diverse constituents and and in increasing access to culturally competent information and critical resources.
It is another office within the Governor's Office of Planning and Research. Governor Gavin Newsom first made the announcement on Monday as part of the California blueprint. He proposed $65 million in ongoing general fund money to create the new office. In a statement, he said the new office will support community partners to build a California for all. The new office will formalize and build its Census 2020 and COVID-19 public awareness campaigns. The first campaigns will include COVID-19 and climate justice. The California Blueprint intends to address COVID-19, climate change, homelessness, inequality, and keeping streets safe. Eileen Ng, NTD News, California.
Governor Gavin Newsom is touting new budget proposals to address homelessness. The plans provide a total of $14 billion to move the homeless off the streets and into health services.
California Governor Gavin Newsom visited the site of a homeless encampment near a San Diego freeway on Wednesday. His newest budget proposals for the homelessness problem total $14 billion.
Last year we put up $50 million, which was novel, for encampment resolution. This year, $500 million was proposed just this week in our budget, tenfold. We're not marginally increasing. We're not modestly increasing, unprecedented investments, a tenfold increase.
$2 billion would be focused on immediate short-term solutions. There would also be unprecedented investment to rebuild the state's behavioral health system.
We have strategies for rapid rehousing, for short-term housing, for treatment on demand, and an unprecedented $3 billion commitment to rebuild our behavioral health system that was dismantled in the late 60s and 70s.
The mayor of San Diego says the city is not simply moving people from one intersection to the next. It is connecting them with services, getting them into shelters, and then moving them to permanent housing.
San Jose became the first California city to mandate booster shots for certain indoor events. Meanwhile, San Francisco updated requirements for people attending mega events in the city. The San Jose City Council approved a COVID booster mandate for both city employees and certain indoor events in a unanimous vote Tuesday evening. Now, people 12 and older attending events at city-owned facilities such as the SAP Center, Convention Center, or the Center for Performing Arts must show proof of a booster shot. This mandate will also apply to venue staff. The mandate takes effect on February 4th, according to Dolan Becker, interim deputy city manager. In San Francisco, the Department of Public Health made changes to mega event requirements that go into effect on Saturday, January 15th. The threshold for mega events will be lowered from 1,000 to 500 attendees for indoor and 10,000 to 5,000 attendees for outdoor events. In addition, effective on February 1st, event attendees aged 16 and up will need to show proof of a booster shot if they are eligible. All staff are also required to show proof of up-to-date vaccination, including boosters, as soon as they are eligible. 3 men and 2 women are now in custody in the death of an off-duty LAPD officer who was shot and killed Monday. Los Angeles police officer Fernando Arroyos and his girlfriend were house hunting when 3 men tried to rob them. He told his girlfriend to run while he exchanged gunfire with the suspects. Arroyos was wounded and later died at the hospital. LA Police Chief Michael Moore said Arroyos was 27 years old and was only 3 years into a promising career. 4 people have been arrested but not yet charged as of Tuesday. 4 California district attorneys and families of fentanyl overdose victims raised awareness on Wednesday of the impacts the drug is having on their local areas. NTD's Jason Blair reports.
On Wednesday, 4 California district attorneys, along with families of fentanyl poisoning victims, raised awareness of the impact the opiate is having in their local communities.
We are doing everything we can conceivably do to raise the alarm that this is, in fact, an epidemic.
Anne Marie Schubert, the Sacramento County DA, said that 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be fatal for most adults, which is about the size of 2 grains of salt. In her county, she reported 157 deaths from homicide with a gun compared to 198 fentanyl-related deaths during 2020 and 2021.
These are not the drugs of the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, where it took a significant time period or it took numerous uses to cause destructive and fatal consequences for the user.
All the DAs reported a steady increase in fentanyl confiscation and deaths over the past couple of years. They are urging for increased education to the public and accountability for dealers. Fentanyl has been gaining more attention recently as being deadlier than more well-known opiates like heroin and Oxycontin. A retired DEA agent told NTD's Capital Report that Americans are being targeted with fentanyl by criminal organizations that can be traced back to the Chinese Communist Party.
The Mexican cartels have formed a deadly partnership with the Chinese transnational criminals, and they're bombing our country with this chemical weapon called fentanyl. And the fentanyl is not only mixed in methamphetamine, heroin, and cocaine, but they're making fake pills.
Maltz went on to say that it's one of the many ways the CCP has been using to try to destabilize the United States. Jason Blair, NTD News, California.
Since the surge in Omicron cases, some stores around the Bay Area are experiencing a supply shortage. Once again, there is a toilet paper shortage due to supply chain troubles.
Bay Area residents are seeing empty shelves again due to supply chain issues. NBC Bay Area reported that stores are experiencing localized shortages.
I've been pretty lucky to stock up beforehand. My mom ordered a bunch before things really started locking down, but it's definitely been just lots of little things I've been missing, food or drinks or I've definitely had to go to multiple stores in one shopping trip just to get everything I need.
A San Jose State University professor told NBC Bay Area that Omicron is to blame, with many people staying home instead of going to work.
It's really inconvenient for sure. It's just weird not knowing what to expect when you go to the store.
A familiar shortage that is coming back, reminiscent of last year, is toilet paper.
Whoa, that sounds awful. We need toilet paper on the daily. Why is the cost of that? Shouldn't we have enough paper to make toilet paper?
On Wednesday, NTD confirmed that the shortage is not widespread in the South Bay. Certain retailers, like Costco, are limiting products such as toilet paper to 1 package per person per day.
Tesla and Elon Musk are criticizing a proposal to modify solar taxes. The state's Utilities Commission may vote this month on additional fees for owners of solar energy. We hear more from NTD's David Lamb.
On December 13th, the California Public Utilities Commission, or CPUC, proposed a change that affects solar panel customers in order to balance the needs of the electric grid, the environment, and consumers. Tesla CEO Elon Musk, a major player in the solar industry, called the proposal a bizarre anti-environment move on Tuesday. The proposal would charge solar customers an $8 per kilowatt grid participation fee and make changes to the state's net metering program. Tesla says the proposal could add about $50 to $80 per month for solar customers. California's governor said after reviewing the draft proposal, there's still work to be done.
My assertion that we have work to do suggests and implies that just that we have work to do. So I'll leave it at that. We're many parties, many conversations, lots of balls in the air, a lot of work in that space. More on that very shortly.
Under the net energy metering program, when a rooftop solar system generates more energy than the unit consumes, customers can sell the excess energy, receiving credits on their energy bills. Tesla says the value for bill credits would be reduced by 80%. Tesla created a webpage for customers to share their views on the proposal with the governor and CPUC. CPUC said the proposal will be on the January 27th meeting agenda for a vote. Tesla said that if adopted, the fees would be the highest solar fees in the country. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
Shenyun's New York company wrapped up its last of 5 performances in San Francisco. Weekend tickets were nearly sold out.
After the last few performances in San Francisco, Shenyun left audience members feeling inspired and hopeful.
Very inspirational, very happy, very content. It's true, and it resonates that way.
I get exposed to a great deal of trauma through stories of the folks that work for me. So for me to be able to come here, it was an opportunity to and enjoy it.
Just to see the parallels between the eternal or heavenly realm and the earthly realm, and I think there's just a desire for all of us to see beyond just what we can see with our physical eyes.
Shenyun means the beauty of divine beings dancing. Like most of traditional Chinese culture, they draw inspiration from the heavens. Shenyun's mission is to revive the ancient culture that was nearly destroyed or forgotten under decades of communist rule.
We're living in a time of uncertainty, anxiety, and it's easy to get caught up in all of that noise and lose perspective. And I think, hope and being brought back to the divine and reminding folks, and or at least exposing folks who may not be conscious or conscientious of the divine, of how important it is to always remember where we come from. In understanding the divine, that can give you hope, and knowing that this too shall pass. We will get past this.
I think all of us are struggling right now with culture and an attempt to change the culture and modernize it, and so I think that's a noble thing. I think there's a lot to learn from our histories and our cultures.
Shenyun will perform in Escondido from January 13th to 17th. NTD News, San Francisco.
Now to NTD's Thomas Christian for an update from the world of sports.
Welcome to the NTD News Sports Roundup. I'm Thomas Christian, taking you through the wide world of California athletics.
The U.S. women's national team will have 10 members of the squad that won bronze at last year's Tokyo Olympics for their first training camp of 2022 next week in Austin, Texas. With no internationals scheduled during the January 19th through 28th camp, U.S. women's national team head coach Vlatko Ankonovsky will use the opportunity to have more intense sessions to kick off a year in which they hope to qualify for the 2023 Women's World Cup and the 2024 Paris Olympics. The camp marks the return of several World Cup and Olympic veterans who did not make the trip to Australia last November for the final 2 matches of 2021, including goalkeeper Alyssa Nair, defender Kelly O'Hara, midfielder Samantha Mewis, and forward Mallory Pugh. The only player on the roster earning her first call-up to the U.S. women's national team is 2021 National Women's Soccer League Rookie of the Year, Trinity Rodman, a 19-year-old forward who is still age-eligible for the 2022 Under-20 Women's World Cup. The world champions play their first match of the year at next month's She Believes Cup when they face the Czech Republic, New Zealand, and Iceland in a 4-team tournament being held in Carson, California, and Frisco, Texas. Evgeny Malkin produced 2 goals and an assist in his season debut, and Jeff Carter added 2 scores as the visiting Pittsburgh Penguins earned a 4-1 victory over the Anaheim Ducks on Tuesday. Kasperi Kapanen had 2 assists, and Tristan Jarry made 25 saves for the Penguins, who earned the victory 1 game after their 10-game winning streak ended with a 3-2 road defeat to the Dallas Stars on Saturday. Malkin, who has been out since surgery in June to repair the ACL and MCL in his right knee, found the net twice in the second period, scoring in a regular season game for the first time since March 15th against the Boston Bruins. Jacob Silverberg had a goal for the Ducks to end a 30-game scoring drought. Goalie Anthony Stolarz stopped 30 shots in place of John Gibson, who is in COVID-19 protocol. Penguins 4, Ducks 1. Logan Couture scored 1 minute into overtime, and San Jose topped visiting Detroit for its 3rd win in a row. Timo Meyer and Jeffrey Veal scored for the Sharks, who have won 3 straight at home and are 7-1 in games decided beyond regulation. Brent Burns had 3 assists, Jonathan Dolan added 2 helpers, and Adam Hill made 17 saves. Tyler Bertuzzi and Nick Leddy were the goal scorers for the Red Wings, who dropped their 3rd consecutive contest while slipping to 0-4-2 in their past 6 on the road. Phil Peronic assisted on both tallies, and Alex Nedeljakovic stopped 37 shots. Sharks 3, Red Wings 2.
And that's all for the NTD News Sports Roundup. I'm Thomas Christian, and thanks for tuning in.
And that's all for tonight. You can join us again on California Today every weekday at 8 p.m. If you have any news tips or ideas for our show, feel free to let us know. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook. I'm Daniel Hall. Have a wonderful evening.